You've probably heard the dire predictions, right? Will AI take our jobs? Are we all, doomed to obsolescence? Just endlessly scrolling social media while robots do, well, everything. It's pretty pervasive anxiety, isn't it? But what if that's only one part of the story? What if AI isn't just taking jobs, but also creating entirely new opportunities? Today, we're taking a deep dive into an article that honestly paints a far more optimistic picture. It focuses specifically on the new jobs AI could actually usher in. Our source for this deep dive is 22 New Jobs AI Could Give You. It's from the New York Times, published June 17, 2025, written by Robert Capps. And our mission really is to uncover the specific, sometimes surprising roles where human skills won't just remain relevant, but could become more essential than ever before.
Yeah, that fear of AI displacing human work is definitely a common thread. It's everywhere. You hear commentators like the venture capitalist Chris Sacca saying we're super expletive. And then you've got Fiverr's CEO Micah Kaufman adding designers and salespeople to that list of the soon-to-be damned. But this article really pushes back on that narrative. Robert Capps, the author, he actually opens by confessing he tried to write the very article itself using AI.
Oh, wow. How did that turn out?
Well, not great for the AI. He couldn't submit it.
Huh.
For starters, it made up almost all the quotes and the experts just fabricated them.
Seriously?
Yeah. But crucially, as he points out, the AI couldn't provide the responsibility factor. That's something inherent to human work.
That's fascinating. So right out of the gate, the author himself is kind of making the case for human indispensability using his own experiment.
Exactly. It highlights this key human element AI really struggles with: accountability.
And what does the bigger picture data tell us? Does it support this idea?
It does, actually. The World Economic Forum's 2025 Future of Jobs report, which the article cites, projects that while, yes, maybe 9 million jobs are expected to be displaced by AI and other tech in the next 5 years, a remarkable 11 million new jobs will likely be created by 2030.
11 million new jobs.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That directly challenges that whole doomed narrative we hear so often.
That 11 million number is certainly encouraging. But, does the article talk about how easily those jobs will actually materialize? Or, the skills gap that might still be a challenge?
Yeah, it does acknowledge it's not necessarily a seamless transition. It won't be easy for everyone. But the core argument is really about where human value shifts. It's not about if we have value, but how it changes. For Capps, these new opportunities fall into 3 core areas where humans become more necessary than ever. Those are trust, integration, and taste.
Trust, integration, taste. Okay.
And that's basically our roadmap for this deep dive. Understanding where human value truly lies when AI is everywhere.
Okay, let's unpack that first one then. Trust. If AI is churning out, vast amounts of content, reports, decisions, how do we as humans really stand as the gatekeepers of its truth? What does trust actually mean when an algorithm is involved? And where do we even begin to assess if it's fair or accurate?
That's exactly the crux of it. As AI becomes more influential, we're going to develop a lot of, let's call them trust issues with it. And solving these issues, that's fundamentally going to require humans. So Robert Siemens, he's a professor at NYU's Stern School of Business. He envisions this new set of roles he calls AI auditors.
AI auditors, okay.
Yeah. These are people who really dig down into the AI. They try to understand what it's doing and, just as importantly, why it's doing it. Then they document everything for technical reasons, for explanatory purposes, maybe even for liability reasons down the line.
So it's not just like traditional accounting audits.
No, not at all. It's more like forensic AI investigation. They become the arbiters of digital truth, in a way, and Siemens predicts that within 5 years, basically all the big accounting firms will be offering AI audits. It's going to be standard.
So it's not just about what the AI does, but understanding its intent, its process. That seems like a massive shift, especially for traditional auditing roles.
Absolutely. And sort of related to that, Siemens imagines another job: the AI translator.
Okay, what does that involve?
Well, this is someone who understands the AI well enough to explain its mechanics to others in the business, leaders, managers. They bridge that gap between something super technical, as Siemens puts it, and what a manager actually needs to know to make an informed decision.
That makes a lot of sense. The black box problem.
Exactly. And more broadly, under this whole trust umbrella, we'll probably see new kinds of fact checkers and compliance officers. Think about it. AI will soon write legal documents, annual reports, contracts, tons of stuff. But humans will be absolutely essential to review and verify them. To look for the AI's Surprising and weird mistakes, as the article calls them.
Surprising and weird mistakes, I can imagine.
Yeah. So this could give rise to titles like Trust Authenticator or maybe Trust Director. And then adjacent to these roles, we'll likely see variations on an AI ethicist.
Ah, ethics. Always a big one with AI.
Definitely. These individuals would be tasked with building what the article calls chains of defensible logic, basically justifying decisions made either by the AI alone or by hybrid AI and human teams. And they'd have to justify these to all sorts of stakeholders, investors, customers, maybe even judges and juries eventually. Siemens suggests that future AI ethics boards will be, quote, empowered a lot more than they tend to be today. They'll have real teeth.
So real accountability structures.
Exactly, because at its core, trust is really about accountability. And this is where humans are just critical. Eric Brynjolfsson, he's the director of the Digital Economy Lab at Stanford's Institute for Human-Centered AI. He puts it very simply. There should be a human who ultimately takes responsibility.
Someone has to be on the hook.
Right. He uses the example of a car crash. You trace culpability back through a complex chain, the driver, the manufacturer, maybe the road maintenance crew, to find who's responsible. AI will make these chains even more complicated, no doubt, but the fundamental need for a human to take responsibility, that remains.
That accountability piece feels absolutely central to everything. So we're talking about roles like maybe a legal guarantor.
Yeah.
Someone, perhaps certified, who actually signs off on AI-generated work, like contracts or, say, house designs. They provide the culpability that the AI just cannot.
Precisely. Ethan Mollick at the Wharton School, he calls these roles the sin eaters for AI. Kind of a dramatic term, but it fits.
Sin eaters, huh? The final stop in the responsibility chain.
Yeah. And there's also the need for something like a consistency coordinator.
Why is that?
Because AI, for all its strengths, isn't inherently consistent. Not always. Think of a fashion house. Can they ensure a specific dress is accurately represented across dozens, maybe hundreds of AI-generated photos for a campaign? This role accepts accountability for that kind of consistency, making sure the AI output aligns with reality or brand standards.
Okay, got it.
And finally, there's the escalation officer. This is a concept Daniel Susskind explores. This is the person who steps in when humans simply prefer human interaction, or maybe when the AI just feels too, well, inhuman.
Like in customer service help.
Exactly. When the AI chatbot has gone around and around, as the article says, and you just need a person. Or maybe in education, when a student needs specific human intervention that an AI tutor can't provide.
So pulling this trust section together, what does it all mean for you, the listener? It really means that roles focused on oversight, clarity, and accountability, they're going to be more critical than ever. The focus shifts from doing the rote tasks to exercising essential human judgment. It's about knowing when and how to vouch for AI's output, and crucially, when to step in yourself. Okay, so beyond just trusting the output, what's the next layer of human involvement? What happens when these AI models get even more sophisticated and they need to be, like, deeply woven into the fabric of a business?
Yeah, that's what a second pillar comes in, integration. Given how complex AI is becoming, a lot of the new jobs will be pretty technical. They'll require people who can effectively bridge AI capabilities with specific business requirements. Siemens calls these folks the AI integrators.
Integrators, makes sense.
These are the experts who figure out how to best use AI within a particular company and then actually implement it. You know, a CEO might promise on an earnings call, we're investing heavily in AI.
Right, you hear that all the time.
But the integrator is the one who figures out what that actually means on the ground. Is it for back office functions? Is it for employment screening? Is it optimizing white-collar workflows? They make it real.
So it's not just about installing the software package. It's much more strategic, understanding the application.
Exactly. And this also includes potentially new kinds of IT roles. As AI systems become more agentic, meaning they act more independently, almost like autonomous agents.
Which makes them trickier to troubleshoot, I imagine.
Definitely. So when something inevitably goes wrong deep inside these layered systems, you'll need what the article calls an AI plumber.
An AI plumber.
Okay, someone who can really dig through that complex network, find the root cause of the problem, and repair it. That's different from traditional IT support. We'll also likely see AI assessors. Sal Khan from Khan Academy, he mentioned how they constantly track AI model improvements, but also regressions, hallucinations, changes in capabilities like language or math. So these are roles focused purely on evaluating these constantly changing AI models. Are they getting better? Worse? Weirder?
It really sounds like the key skill here is being the person who can translate effectively. translating between the incredibly complex, fast-moving technical world of AI and the practical, real-world needs of the business or the customer.
That's it, precisely. Brynjolfsson actually advises his students, be the person who connects customer problems to the power of the technology. That's the sweet spot.
And are we seeing this trend reflected in job postings already?
We are. According to LinkedIn's Anish Raman, cited in the piece, head of AI jobs are up 3 times in just 5 years. And AI engineers are apparently the fastest growing role in the U.S. right now, followed closely by AI consultants.
Ah,
So in the future, we can expect even more specific titles like integration specialist.
yeah.
And think about companies using highly customized AI models, the ones trained on their own proprietary data. 2 new roles emerge there. First, an AI trainer. This person helps the AI find and digest the best company data and teaches it to respond accurately and helpfully, reflecting the company's knowledge.
Okay, training the internal brain.
Right. And second, an AI personality director.
Personality director. What's that?
This person fine-tunes the custom AI's personality. Should it be cloying, sardonic, super helpful and formal? This could become as core to a brand's identity as its logo or its color scheme. Getting that voice right?
It's wild to think about. And AI's personality is a brand element?
Yeah. And in really complex industries like healthcare, AI holds enormous promise, but also, significant risks. So you can imagine roles like a drug compliance optimizer, someone who develops AI-driven systems to help ensure patients take the correct medications at the correct times. Huge potential impact there.
Absolutely.
And maybe an AI human evaluation specialist, someone whose job is to determine the optimal performance setup should a task be done by AI, by a human, or by some hybrid team, especially in complex, high-stakes scenarios. Siemens offers this really great analogy from the world of robotics. He points out that manufacturers who successfully incorporate robots often end up with more human employees, not fewer.
Really? How does that work?
Because the productivity gains and growth they achieve essentially steal business from the firms that don't adopt robots. They grow the pie for themselves. But the key factor, robotics integrators.
The bridge builders again?
Exactly. People who bridge the technology, the robots with the specific industry expertise, they are vital. And Siemens notes their geographic distribution is uneven, which actually impacts which companies succeed or fail with automation. It really underscores the critical need for people who can make that connection between the tech and the industry.
So, for you listening, this raises an important question, doesn't it? How might this emphasis on bridging technology and real-world application change your approach to problem solving? Or maybe even shift your career path? It seems it's all about being that connector, that implementer, the one who makes the AI actually work effectively for the business and its goals.
Okay, so we've talked about trust, what AI can't be held accountable for, and integration, how humans will weave it into businesses. But what about the more subjective side of things? What happens when AI can generate almost anything imaginable? I mean, as someone who occasionally struggles just picking out socks in the morning, the idea of taste as a critical job skill is, well, it's both terrifying and kind of liberating.
Right. And that brings us perfectly to the third area the article highlights, taste. The article brings up this really powerful analogy. It refers to that viral 60 Minutes clip featuring the music producer Rick Rubin. You remember that?
Vaguely, yeah. Refresh my memory. Okay, so Anderson Cooper is interviewing Rubin, and he asks him about his technical abilities. Does he play instruments? Can he work a soundboard? And Rubin says, barely, and no. He adds, quote, I have no technical ability, and I know nothing about music.
Wow. Okay. So what does he do?
Cooper asks exactly that, what are you paid for? And Rubin replies, the confidence I have in my taste and my ability to express what I feel has proven helpful for artists.
Confidence in his taste.
Exactly. It perfectly illustrates this idea of creativity without craft, which the article argues will be increasingly valuable in an AI-driven future.
Creativity without craft. That's a really profound concept. So if the AI can handle the craft, the writing, the coding, the designing, whatever the human role, shifts almost entirely to the vision, the selection, the taste.
Precisely. Think back to the author trying to write the article with AI. If that AI becomes fully trustworthy someday, the author might become someone who simply selects the right inputs, maybe picks the best phrases from multiple AI outputs, rather than being the primary writer in the traditional sense.
So the role itself changes fundamentally.
It does. And the role of designer, for example, won't disappear, but it will absolutely evolve. While AI might handle the technical bits like layout or kerning perfectly, the designer's fundamental role marshaling creative choices based on taste that gets magnified. Deciding what's needed in the first place, what's actually good, what will have impact, knowing when something is finished, that requires taste.
So the what and why become more important than the how.
Exactly. And titles will likely evolve to reflect this. A product designer might encompass much greater ownership, from the big strategic picture right down to the fine experiential details. We might see new qualifiers emerge, like article designer or story designer in film and TV, maybe world designers for complex marketing campaigns or video games. The focus shifts more towards style and vision than pure technical execution.
That makes a lot of sense for obviously creative fields. But what about roles that aren't traditionally seen as creative? Does
Yeah.
taste apply there too?
The article argues it absolutely does. You could see, for instance, a human resources designer, someone whose primary role is shaping company culture by strategically designing the training programs, the benefits packages, the whole employee experience.
Okay, designing culture. Interesting.
Or maybe civil designers, where the AI handles the complex math and physics calculations, freeing up the human engineer to focus more on the creative, problem-solving, and aesthetic aspects of a project. The core point is more people across different fields will be tasked with making these kinds of creative and taste-based decisions, essentially steering the AI where they want it to go.
And there's another fascinating point here.
Yeah, the idea that AI can help novice workers overcome inexperience. It could allow them to jump into more creative, maybe entrepreneurial tasks like brainstorming and developing new product ideas, things that were traditionally reserved for people with years and years of deep experience.
So it lowers the barrier to innovation.
Potentially, yes. Rahman from LinkedIn suggests this could lead us into a new innovation economy, where entrepreneurialism is really at the core, enabled by these AI tools. Creative decision-making, having good taste, it becomes central to competitiveness, especially for firms in knowledge-based industries like financial services. Once everyone has access to essentially the same powerful AI intelligence, how do you stand out?
Through your unique vision and choices.
Exactly. The answer might lie in these taste roles. How does a firm communicate? How do they market themselves? What's their creative philosophy? This could even give rise to a role like a differentiation designer, someone whose job remit combines branding, philosophy, product strategy, risk tolerance, and creative execution, all guided by taste.
But what about the craftspeople? Is there still a place for, actually making things?
That's a valid concern, a lament even, for the potential loss of craft. But Malik believes people will continue practicing crafts, partly out of preference, but also out of need. Sometimes the act of doing helps us think.
Right. The process matters.
Yeah. And Siemens uses the Pixar analogy here. When computers started automating the laborious frame-by-frame drawing, the animators didn't disappear. They shifted their time and resources. They spent more effort on storytelling, on plot development, on character, the taste elements.
So the craft evolved, it didn't vanish.
Right. The AI future, as the article suggests, means you won't need to know how to do everything in order to do everything.
Yeah.
Brynjolfsson puts it memorably. We're all going to be CEOs of a small army of AI agents.
CEOs of AI agents, I like that.
Which means we'll need to think much more deeply about our goals, our vision, our taste.
So wrapping up this taste section, it seems whether you're in a traditionally creative field or not, cultivating your unique vision, your discerning eye for what works, what resonates, that's going to be invaluable. It's about being the visionary, the one with the confident pace guiding the AI tools.
So just to synthesize everything we've explored here, while AI certainly presents challenges, and yes, it will displace some jobs, it also seems to open up really immense opportunities, especially for roles focused on these three pillars: trust, integration, and taste. These seem to be uniquely human domains, areas where AI, at least for now, really struggles to replicate what we do. Our human value appears to be shifting, moving away from just task execution and more towards higher-level judgment, synthesis, integration, and vision. And this points to a really crucial understanding for you, listening. It's perhaps less about what AI can do and more about what you can do that AI cannot easily replicate. Focus on those human strengths.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of legitimate concerns about where AI is taking us. We can't ignore those. But this article and our discussion today hopefully leaves us with a truly compelling thought, a final idea for you to maybe mull over. If we think carefully enough, if we are truly intentional about the things we ask of AI, about how we guide it, our future could actually be very bright. In other words, as the article concludes, we are the designers of our AI future. Let's hope we have great taste. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of work. Keep diving deeper into your own curiosities.